I call Adam Thompson.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. On behalf of the people of Erewash first, I'd like to give thanks to His Majesty the King for his gracious speech to all of the nation yesterday. This King's speech recognises the simple fact that Britain cannot afford to leave its future at the mercy of global markets, hostile states or instability abroad. For too long, governments assumed that the hand of the free market would always act in Britain's interests. For too long, we outsourced vital industries without considering the long-term consequences. And for too long, we have underrated the ability of our businesses to export physical goods to the world. We've been globally pigeonholed, Madam Deputy Speaker, strictly as a post-industrial service economy. When dictators spark conflict abroad, British families feel the impact through rising bills and a falling standard of living. Working people in Erewash know this all too well. Britain has been left exposed because we failed to build our own energy resilience. Ilkeston in Erewash is proud of its iron manufacturing heritage. Yet we've watched industries like iron and steel decline as production has moved overseas in search of cheaper labour and lower standards. Steel isn't just another commodity, Madam Deputy Speaker. Its manufacture is strategic infrastructure in and of itself, infrastructure that underpins our national defence capabilities. That's why it's unacceptable that British Steel has been let down by overseas owners who don't act in Britain's best interests. We can't outsource our national security any longer. I will give way.
General Member for giving way. And I completely agree that we must protect British industries. Steel, oil and gas, refining, all of these are vital. The carbon tax is a real reason why these are declining and moving overseas. From what he says, it feels like he agrees with me that we should be getting rid of the carbon tax. Is that correct?
I thank her for her intervention there, Madam Deputy Speaker. I'm not sure we're necessarily on the same page with what we're saying. I was focusing purely on the renationalisation of the steel industry, which I think is a very important part of this King's speech. Indeed, in this King's speech, the government has recognised that markets alone can't protect the national interest. Sometimes the state has to step in to safeguard jobs and keep Britain safe. Nationalising British Steel, Madam Deputy Speaker, means protecting almost 100,000 jobs from unfair foreign competition. I'm proud that this government is going to bring British Steel fully back into public ownership. I've spoken to many businesses in Erewash and business owners, and they report that since we've left the European single market, they have struggled. They've faced mountains of paperwork and massive delays at our borders. These hurdles don't just frustrate exporters, they directly impact their ability to turn a profit. I'm very glad, Madam Deputy Speaker, that in the European Partnership Bill we seek to solve that problem by streamlining trade and making it quicker, cheaper and simpler to do business with Europe. Very gladly.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. My honourable friend's making an excellent speech, absolutely excellent. Would he agree with me that this is particularly important to many, many small businesses in vital supply chains in areas like the automotive sector, many other key sectors of our economy who will benefit directly from this well thought through measure?
I thank my honourable friend for his intervention, Madam Deputy Speaker. I completely agree with him. Indeed, I'm going to talk about one of the businesses in my constituency momentarily. I think particularly when I discuss this topic, Madam Deputy Speaker, of Clooney Lace in Ilkeston, not in the automotive sector, but a brilliant high-end lace manufacturer. Shortly I will. As it was workers from Ilkeston who produced Princess Kate's wedding dress and Queen Anne's tablecloth. Clooney Lace, Madam Deputy Speaker, they're an internationally renowned producer and exporter of high-quality British goods, supplying the European high-end garment manufacturing industry in particular. And I will give way before I continue.
I thank him for giving way, and he's mentioning small businesses and delays at the border. Is it not true that particularly the problem of double tariffs for small businesses for importing from third countries and then importing into the European Union will only be solved if we are joining the customs union again? Yeah.
I thank her for an intervention. Indeed, that's a point I'm momentarily about to touch upon. When I met with Charles Mason, the managing director from Clooney Lace that I was just referring to, he told me at length about how post-Brexit export and import difficulties have caused him immeasurable pain, because the lace that we make in Ilkeston can only be dyed in France, where they have the professionals required with the appropriate expertise. Moving the lace to France for this part of the process, then back to England for further processing before sale, then often back to Europe, has become all but impossible for his company. What was once a frictionless part of Clooney's manufacturing process and sales chain is now a crippling quagmire of tariffs and business model breaking roadblocks. Madam Deputy Speaker, for businesses across Erewash, whether they are producers, suppliers or distributors, a closer trading relationship with Europe means less time navigating bureaucracy and more time growing their businesses. I know businesses in Erewash have also suffered from increased energy costs. If we want to lower bills for working people, we must break our dependence on volatile global gas prices. British families won't see meaningful long-term reductions in energy costs until we produce more clean, affordable energy right here at home. In Erewash, this transition is not theoretical. It's visible very obviously on our local skyline. Sawley, in my constituency, on the banks of the River Trent, lies adjacent to the former Ratcliffe-on-Soar power station in Rushcliffe, my honourable friend's constituency. Ratcliffe is the UK's last coal-fired, or was the last UK's last coal-fired power station, and it closed its doors for the final time in September 2024. As we move forward then, Madam Deputy Speaker, my task as the Erewash MP is not simply to help the country move on from coal, but to ensure that Erewash is at the heart of what comes next, and to ensure that my constituents benefit from the new investment, new jobs and the cleaner, more secure energy future that this government is delivering within this King's Speech. That's why I'm very excited about the government's Energy Independence Bill. It will shield our economy from the fossil fuel price shocks that have caused half of the UK's recessions since the 1970s. Madam Deputy Speaker, this government is bringing industry back to Britain. Well-paid engineers working in clean energy, powering steel production in the East Midlands and across the country. And on the ground, that means families in my constituency and the constituencies of honourable members right across the House will no longer be wondering how events thousands of miles away will be affecting their bills and their ability to book a holiday. Families in Erewash voted for change in 2024. These families are tired of limited opportunities and are feeling vulnerable every time the world becomes more unstable. They want more control over their lives. With this King's Speech, Madam Deputy Speaker, we are bringing industry home, investing in British jobs and putting control of our future back into the hands of working people.